Since after the August 17, 2021, outing of the Ninas, in which we were, taking a review, taking stock of what had happened after the 120 days of consultations with the peoples of Nigeria and the international community, in which we were reporting the progress that had been made in the enforcement of the constitutional force majeure, we have been inundated with, inquiries from people who maybe didn't pay enough attention to what had happened from December, because at each stage we indicated where we were and what we were doing next. So at this time, this broadcast is to answer the questions of the many who are asking what next. Yes, we are preparing to go to the UN, on the Freedom March, September 14th, 15th, and beyond, the 76th session of the UN General Assembly, to present our case, to tell the global community that the owners of Nigeria are fed up with Nigeria. But in terms of where we are now and what the next steps should be, for those who are asking, remember that we said, remember that in the December 16, 2020 Constitutional Force Majeure Proclamation, what we stated we were going to do if the system did not come forward, if the government and all the stakeholders did not come to some round table for how to rework the failed union, rework the defunct Federation of Nigeria into some workable entity or entities. We said in that proclamation that we will be, when I say we, the alliance, the whole of the South and the whole of the Middle Belt working together as the Indigenous Nationalities Alliance for Self-Determination, as the owners of Nigeria that are being hijacked by, an alien force. We said we were going to be reconsidering, if everything fails, that we will reconsider our allegiance to the 1999 Constitution, which is the union document, which is the instrument by which we are held in this union of death by those who imposed it and who have refused all these years to come to any discussion about what we could. They will say it is non-negotiable, and who insist that the union is indissoluble and indivisible. Just some nasty talk. And so we are now at that point where, having given the federal government 90 days, we saw what they did with it. They rushed to National Assembly thinking that our sovereignty is now in the custody of National Assembly. We are sure they now know better, that the National Assembly has no role to play in the union dispute we raised. The governors too, we gave them 30 days that began from March the 17th. We saw what they did. They went to Asaba to make some proclamations about open grazing that they would ban, but they didn't tell us how they were going to get the guns to enforce that ban. And so we're still waiting for the governors to come from that middle to the side of the people. Then the 120 days, we saw all of what had happened in it. The owners of the land, came out to the streets to say they are fed up with the union. We saw the Yoruba particularly in all their state capitals and on the streets of Washington saying so very loudly. Of course, all the East have been on the street since over 55 years. And we saw the Midwest, we saw the Middle Belt saying that they are fed up with all the old arrangements that's not working for them. And so where we are now is that we have gone from sensitization to mobilization, and we are heading to the threshold of the enforcement of the people's will. The journey to the UN is to finally notify the global community about what to expect from Nigeria. And looking at what has happened with Afghanistan, you could see the urgency of our situation. That if we do nothing, these people who now tell us that they own the place and who are, killing off communities of indigenous people and bringing their own kinsmen from everywhere in Africa to resettle them in these places, ethnic cleansing, that's what we are faced with. And we see the onslaught building up. We can't make a distinction between our president, who is a grand patron of Mieti Allah, and the Mietiala with their Fulani herdsmen wards who have been carrying out all their bidding, because our president gave them 100 billion. I mean, gave Mietiala 100 billion at a time for their business. At a time, Mietiala was presenting themselves as the proprietors of the Fulani herdsmen killing machinery, and so we are caught in that terrible situation in which we cannot tell what role our government is playing in this business that include ISIS and all kinds of other terror networks that have become ISWAP, working together with Boko Haram and the Fulani herdsmen that is one of their more recent mutations. And it is in that setting that we informed the alliance partners on the 17th of August as we took stock of what had happened so far. I forgot to talk about the international community, in which our consultations and engagements with the international community, in which the U.S. had to cancel order for military equipment, attack helicopters, and the U.S. Congress blocked further sale of weapons to Nigeria. Again, loans in which China cancelled, what they were already, $1 billion loan. They already, so and now we recall the 2019 rapporteur mission from the UN regarding the killings going on in Nigeria, in which Agnes Callamard and her committee came up with the report that Nigeria's constitution was like a pressure cooker for injustice. We're touching on all this to let us know that we have come to where that sensitization has moved to mobilization that will get to the enforcement of the people's will. What is our own role in this? We remember in August 17, 2021, World Press Conference, we had told the alliance partners to now proceed with the final, processes of validating of producing and validating their charter documents, their constitutions, in readiness for the referendums that will come when we get to, where the journey to election is conclusively, halted. Because in saying we're going to reconsider our allegiance to that constitution, those we are telling are not listening, and so they are still preparing for how to renew the life of that constitution, which we have all rejected and repudiated in 2023 by way of elections. And so the engagement with the situation right now is that the global community will have to be made to see that the owners of Nigeria are not going to another election in 2023. And it is the political parties that contest election that will be the point of engagement with the owners of Nigeria. So as they do their charters, the charters of relationship in the multi-national or multi-ethnic blocks in the alliance, we can see there are 3 blocks. The lower Niger, their charter of relationship is being processed. The middle belt, their charter of relationship is being processed. The Yoruba have gone straight to the draft of their constitution because they are basically one language group. And so it is in this period that we finalize all those documents, because in the days ahead, when the title deed, when the forged title deed called the 1999 Constitution begins to give way, it is the owners of the sovereignties that have been detained by that constitution, that have been confiscated by that constitution, that will have to take charge of their own spaces under these charters and constitutions they will be they are putting together right now. And the NINAS, the alliance, will continue in the background to provide coordination so that it doesn't become a matter of quarrel or some kind of confusion along the line, and dealing with the international community like we're already doing. And so the task immediately is to be sure that each of these charters are in place, a clear map, and a clear written understanding amongst those involved in each of those blocks of the 3 in the alliance. And so also getting ready for engaging the political parties to persuade them to stop the preparations for 2023. That is what is the most urgent. Get the political parties to close shop by whatever means, because if they drag us towards 23, it means that those who are holding us hostage on account of that constitution are going to continue to do what they are doing to reconquer us. They know we have defeated the document, but the owners of the land don't seem to yet know, and so they are taking advantage of that to expedite and rapidly advance their conquest onslaught against the rest of us. And we really need to go to first things first to halt that onslaught by halting the journey to election, because that's the only point it will become clear to the global community whom we are going to address next, that we have truly repudiated that constitution. We can't say we have repudiated or defeated the constitution and we're still preparing to go to election under it. It doesn't make any sense. So our task right now in this period is to very quickly demonstrate that we have rejected the document by stopping the political parties, persuading them by whatever means possible or necessary, not to drag us on that trajectory towards election in 2023. For the purpose of clarity, the charter of relationships we're talking about in respect of the Lower Niger bloc, which is the South-South and Southeast, as Nigeria calls them these days, but the ethnic nationalities of that eastern half of southern Nigeria, when you take the Yoruba apart. It is the understandings that will be the basis of federating amongst those nationalities. On what terms would the Ijaw, the Ogoni, the Anang, the Efik, the Ibibio, the Edo, the Ogoja, the Igbo, all of them in between, on what terms are they coming together to be a unit, either as an independent unit or as a bloc federating with others, depending on what the referendums will decide? We, Ninas, have not decided for anybody. We're only saying that the constitution in place has to be out of the way. Then the matter must go to referendum, because that is the 21st century mechanism for resolving the issues that are now confronting Nigeria. There's no other way. All we have done by the December 16 proclamation 2020 is to provide a framework, a process, an orderly process at that, a non-violent process as that. Any other thing will end in fiasco. Everybody can already see it. And the people we are discussing with are busy bringing in more of Al-Qaeda and ISIS to come and help them. Fulani from all over the place to come and join them. But the owners of the land are determined to go to this process, and that's why we have a referendum. The same thing that happens in the middle, in the Lower Niger, is also going on in the Middle Belt, where the Tiv, the Berom, the Joko, the Doma, and everything in between are working out as we speak their charters of relationship. There are maps to it, everybody in his ancestral space, and there are understandings that are being reduced into black and white that will form the basis of the constitution that will emerge from that territory. Whatever we then decide to do, like Germany and France and Portugal had to decide on what becomes their European Union, will be the matter for the day after. But the three of us reject the civilization represented by the Sharia, in which adherents owe it a duty of faith to kill the others as infidels, in which the feudalist drivers of that Sharia worldview are also of the view that all men are not born equal. We, in the alliance, insist that all men are born equal, therefore we insist on democracy. The people who have embraced Sharia, imposed Sharia, we have no quarrel with them as long as they remain in their space, for which reason we now say this pretense that we are in a democracy of one union called Nigeria must be brought to an end. It's lasted too long already, 22 years from 1999, when it was alleged that we, the indigenous nationalities, have submitted our sovereignty into the Union of Nigeria to be managed according to the constitution they imposed on us. That pretense is at an end. And just wanted to make that clear, that it is that charter that will define what will emerge, from what we are rejecting at the moment. Thank you.